Welcome to Geopolitics in Conflict Breaking News.
The deputy director of the CIA, David Cohen, has said that Taiwan is definitely one of the number one issues that we're facing today. What do you make of this, David?
Indeed, that is news just came out. As a matter of fact, there are a lot of articles been written about this and what does it mean. I mean, you look at it from all media, whatever, talking about this one. Well, this one also came as a surprise when William Burns, the CIA director, announced on October 7th that the agency is about to establish a new center. And I'm going to quote here to share this with you. It's called the China Mission Center, which means to bring more resources about studying about China and to better position the CIA officers around the world to collect information and analyze China's activity. What I found very not disturbing, I won't use the term disturbing. What I find very ironic, first of all, is that usually the agency does not announce this kind of reorganization. That's one. Second, by them announcing it publicly, and Director Burns came on the air and said it through an interview with some of the Western media channel at home. The fact that he did that publicly, it suggests that, hey, China, here is what we plan on doing. In other words, sending a message to China. And why is that? Because China is a hard target for the agency.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just say it straightforward. We're not going to sugarcoat it. The agency finding that it's hard to get into China because it's a hard target.
Right.
Yeah. And because China has a good intelligence services. It's a fact, it's reality. The agency's been struggling with this for years and years and years. But here is the thing where the agency is going to run two challenges. Well, one of them has to do with, do you have enough individuals, officers that is, who truly understand the history of China?
That is a really important question. You do a deep dive into Chinese history, and it's really complicated.
Yeah.
And there's all the context, such as the Great Humiliation, Century of Humiliation. All these things are in the backdrop. And historically, we don't see a lot of aggression in recent times from China.
Yeah.
And so you have to say, do these people really understand what they're seeing, hearing, and what's going on?
Well, it's also because we don't tend to read a lot of history.
Yeah.
So, and when you look at a civilization of 5,000 years, so this is one of the challenges that I see the agency will be facing. That's one. Second one, the language comes to play a major role. It is different between sending someone to school to learn the language versus someone living in the culture itself.
Right.
We found that out in the Middle East with the Iraq War. It's kind of was very, very challenging for the agency because the nuances into the language and the culture, and we tend not to think in these terms. But this is not about just that. This is about a much bigger picture. Now that the agency, openly saying that China is our next target, and how they go about it is by now making Taiwan top priorities. Okay, if you are an analyst, you're going to be reading between the lines what is been cooking in the kitchen as far as what's coming down the pipe. Are we preparing for something? And this one has to do with particular one aspect is this comment by David Cohen, who is he? He's the deputy director. That's correct. Yeah. They came right after when President Biden stated that our commitment to defend Taiwan. And of course, this comes on the backdrop of this Western media hysteria that took place about the flights that China conducted. Well, here is the brutal truth that the Western media did not disclose. And what it is just the Chinese flights that took place, which there were some flights, those were in Taiwan's Air Defense Identification Zone. It's known as ADIZ.
An important concept with that.
Hold on a second.
Okay, sure.
Why is that important? Is because ADIZ concept, the way it's been portrayed in the West versus the reality of it over there, that is where the difference. The difference is that ADIZ is not covered by international law. So which means what? Basically, it makes it that there's no treaty for it. And usually the Chinese warplanes, when they fly or they enter the southwest corner of the ADIZ, which means they are not over the airspace of Taiwan. It is unlikely what the Western media, which is falsely been claiming that, and I quote, portrayed these flights as a violation of Taiwan airspace. This is where the distinction that I...
Some of the comical parts of this are
Yeah.
some of mainland China is in that zone. And so they're saying, hold it, China's violated its own airspace?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense at all.
But also the idea of now we're saying that because the agency has to collect information and they want to know about what Xi Jinping is thinking so they can provide policymakers with information to prevent a Chinese invasion of Taiwan. So you can just see the terminology that is used, the wording of it.
Yeah.
If you notice that most of the articles came out in a Western media focuses on the word, and I quote, invasion. Why? Because it's a heavy word.
It's very heavy.
Yeah. So it's when a reality suggests that China's not going to invade itself. That's just common sense. So this is one of the challenges. But also there is other aspects or dimension to all this, geopolitically speaking. There is now, for example, you take what's going on right now in Iran. Well, Iran is inviting the regional countries in Central Asia to attend the meeting there, and the United States was out of that, of course. And so basically what the United States wants to do with all this, if I am to analyze it, is they want to ensure they have coverage in Central Asia. That's what this is all about. Now that we lost Afghanistan, the buckle way of coming out, and there is no coverage, shall we say, in the intelligence world. They use the term coverage because Pakistan is struggling to allow the US to use air drones in air space, even though I just found out yesterday that Pakistan might allow some of that. I can't confirm that. We will find out about it and let you know. But if it is the case, that tells you where the struggle is.
Oh, that backstory has to be fascinating.
Yeah, exactly. And this is where one of the ideas of why the United States, why the CIA decided to establish this center is because they want to see what indicators coming out of China as to what they're going to be doing. Because as this David Cohen, this deputy director, stated, that China represents a geopolitical threat to the United States in the 21st century, where it's reality that the shifting world that moved from unipolar into multipolar, of course, the agency or the United States will have to create an enemy to justify whatever. Remember when we talked about the hypersonic? And I remember when I had also the presentation with Elizabeth, and we talked about this one, that now you're going to see the push in the United States towards, oh my gosh, this is where I see it going. So the idea of the agency, the Central Intelligence Agency, is struggling to penetrate China, and they won't be able to, because it's a very, very hard target.
Well, among other things, the Chinese are always looking at each other, always questioning. Another thing is how much approval the central government has by the people.
Exactly.
So they don't have millions and millions and millions of disinfected people. They have, we like our central government.
Yeah. Well, did you hear the comment that came out of Chinese ambassador in Washington?
Oh, hilarious.
Yeah. Do you remember? Can you want to share it with our viewers? So for them just to have how the ambassador sees that.
China's ambassador to the United States said Washington should drop its James Bond theatrics and work toward better relations with Beijing. He's a very formidable guy, very intelligent.
Yeah. And to me, it makes perfect sense because cooperation is where you're going to move things forward. This kind of hostility and aggression, it's going to lead nowhere. What do you expect? China to bow to America? It ain't going to happen. What do you expect? China to go back on its advancements in artificial intelligence? Ain't gonna happen.
Right.
What are you gonna see? China's scale down or stop its space program?
No
Ain't gonna
way.
happen. So reality suggests otherwise. We are indeed moving into, or have already moved into, a multipolar system. We better come to grip with it and cooperate and build a better world for all of us.
And that means so important. The hawks in Congress say we will grant Biden war privileges
Privilege,
here
yeah.
if China invades
Yeah, they
its own
always use
territory.
that term. Yeah, I have to of course, I disagree with that assessment because it's wrong to begin with. And second, instead of this warmongering, how about if you just figure out a way of talk to each other? It's like we always say in South China Sea, whatever. There are some tensions between countries there and China. But guess, are they talking about any war? Are they talking about invasion? Rather than they are sitting down and trying to figure out their differences. That's always the best way to do it. Just because you don't think like me doesn't mean I have to make you an enemy.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. You and I, we might disagree once in a while, and a kind of, hey, Ross, I disagree with you on that. And that's it. We'll come to an agreement of sorts, and I understand it. There is one more aspect we need to share with our viewers. It has to do with an announcement by the Central Intelligence Agency as to where they see the shortcomings coming forward. And there are 5 main areas. And by the way, we're going to have a guest next week, just for you to know, guys. We're going to have a guest next week who knows a great deal about one particular aspect without revealing his name. So we want to keep it as a surprise for you. But to understand this within the context of what the agency is doing, they realize, or they identify 5 areas. If the United States does not make some progress or stride in it, they're going to fall behind. And we're going to share them with our viewers here. So, the 5 areas are artificial intelligence.
No surprise there.
Quantitative statistics, biological sciences, semiconductors, and autonomy systems. So those are very, very specialized areas. But here is the thing. We all know, Ross, I'm sure you do, how far advanced China is in artificial intelligence.
We actually did a show on that recently.
You're absolutely correct.
Where the director at the Pentagon said, the United States is in kindergarten and we have no hope of catching up with the Chinese technology. Yeah. Going, that is just shocking.
Yeah, and he gave the even time frame as far as China being far ahead by about 20 years. So that's, to me, it's a very, very disturbing. And second thing is, as we said earlier, our guest next week, somebody who knows about this area very, very, very well. We look forward to that conversation because he's going to take a deep dive into the area of artificial intelligence and why China has reached the strides. And you know what? The best example is in the hypersonic.
Perfect example.
Because that requires AI and advanced artificial intelligence in it. So this is what we wanted to share with you. And tomorrow, when we do our live stream, we're going to be detailing a few other aspects of this. But we want you to know right away what the Central Intelligence Agency just issued yesterday in conjunction with what Director Burns have stated back in October 7th. Usually it's an unusual move from the agency to disclose publicly what they're doing, but that's their signal that this is where our focus is. That could be also a signal for, who wants to work for the agency or speaks Chinese, whatever, to do that work. But that's the way I see it working. Sort of entering the Chinese or targeting the Chinese or be able to get into ain't gonna be easy for the Central Agency because China is a hard target. They have a well-established intelligence community. Based on what I read, you will not be able to get in. So that's what we wanted to share with you. And of course, we hope to see you tomorrow during our live stream. So anything else you want to share with our viewers, Ross?
We hope that this information, with what you already know, helps you form an opinion, helps you understand what's really going on in the world. We'd like to thank you for watching. we want to encourage you to subscribe.
Of course, yes, yes, because we want that subscription to move up more and more. So, and also don't forget to follow us on TikTok, on YouTube, and Instagram, and check out our membership at the geopoliticsinconflict.com. As a matter of fact, Elizabeth, we're gonna have some presentation coming up soon.
2 presentations in the next 2 weeks.
So 2 presentations gonna be next week, and we're gonna do some Q&A for our members. Yeah, and you know why I like that platform? I like that platform because I can talk freely. You all know what I mean by that. We all know, because we all know what's going on, and that's very disturbing to all of us, and we need to be aware of it. So, and so without further ado, we look forward to seeing you tomorrow, and as always, stay informed. Till next time. Bye-bye.